Hey there, my name's Dave and I'm one of the product specialists here at Ramsey Subaru. Today we're going to be doing a video demonstration of your new CrossTrek or Impreza. Now both vehicles are very similar, so for the sake of this demo we're going to be taking a look at the CrossTrek here. During this video demonstration we're going to be going over the features that the vehicle has available to you, as well as a basic initial setup procedure as you would with any new car. Let's get started. Before we get started, keep in mind that your new Subaru will have a 1,000-mile break-in period. During these first 1,000 miles, the various engine components are getting settled from the factory. That means that you're going to want to keep the engine under 4,000 RPM, as well as allow the vehicle to see a variety of driving conditions. A little bit of city, a little bit of traffic, a little bit of back road, and a little bit of highway. You want the vehicle to experience the various driving conditions that it'll see throughout the lifetime of the car. Other than that, keep in mind, you're going to want to avoid using the cruise control for those first 1,000 miles if you can do so as well. Now your vehicle does have an oil change interval of every 6 months or every 6,000 miles, whichever comes sooner. This vehicle will take synthetic oil and full synthetic oil only. Just keep that in mind. Other than that, I just want to say congratulations and welcome to your new Subaru. The Subaru CrossTrek and Impreza are both very similar vehicles that share some key features. As we go over this CrossTrek here, I'll try to point out some features that are unique to either the Impreza or the CrossTrek. On Subaru models equipped with keyless access, you will find this style key fob. Now, while this key may be a little different from the standard key our Subarus might have had in the past, it's going to have the same features as well as several new additional benefits. Working our way through the buttons on the key, we'll find the lock, unlock, trunk, and panic alarm buttons in that order. Again, lock, unlock, trunk, and panic alarm buttons in that order. Flipping the key around, we're going to have access to, by pressing the silver square here, a physical key. With this physical key, we can either open or close the door or the glove box. Now again, working our way back to the front of the key, we're going to have the ability to lock, unlock, open and close the trunk, or turn on and off the panic alarm button. Now pressing the lock button once will again issue an audible tone. Pressing it again will issue a similar tone, and a third time will give us a louder tone, just like so. The unlock button, one press will unlock the driver's door, and two presses of that button will unlock all four doors, as well as, depending on the car, possibly the hatch. The trunk button on power liftgate equipped vehicles will be about a 3-second press and hold, 1, 2, and 3, to either open, or once opened, to close the power lift gate. And then of course lastly, the panic alarm button here, press and hold and the vehicle's panic alarm system will trigger. Now one of the main benefits of this keyless access system will be the ability to enter or exit the vehicle without ever having to reach for the key fob itself. There's a sensor behind the handle as well as on the handle that is actually going to function just like our lock and unlock buttons do on the key fob. I'm going to lock the car for demonstration's sake, and then from there I'll demonstrate simply by sliding my hand behind the handle that the car will unlock for me. Similarly so, if I wanted to lock the car, I could simply press the 2 horizontal lines imprinted on the door handle and the car would lock. Again, to reiterate, as long as the key fob is on your person, sliding your hand behind the handle will unlock the car for us, and placing your fingertips on the 2 horizontal lines here will lock it for us. Subaru CrossTrek and Impreza 5-door models will have a manually operated rear liftgate. We can gain access to the trunk by pressing the button here located just below the Subaru logo. Press that button will allow us to open or close our trunk. If our vehicle is locked, we can press and hold the trunk button on the key fob to access only our trunk, or if we press the unlock button twice, we'll have access to our trunk, as well as the ability to then gain access to the interior of our vehicle as well. Taking a look inside of our trunk space, we're going to have access to a light on and off with the slide of the white switch, privacy cover if equipped with your vehicle, as well as the ability to fold our rear seats if we so choose to. Located under the trunk cover will be your spare tire and spare tool kit. This will consist of a jack, a tow hook, a lug nut wrench, and of course your spare tire. If your vehicle is equipped with a privacy cover, removal and installation is a very simple process. There's a spring-loaded portion on the right-hand side here that we're going to grip and pull to the left. Doing so will allow the cover to pop out of its two square mounting points and be removed. Installation is as simple as going through that same process in reverse. Place the left side in the square cutout for the privacy cover, slide the right side in, and let that spring pressure take over and lock the privacy cover back in place to be usable yet again. The rear seats on all CrossTrek and Impreza models can be folded flat. This can be done easily by pulling up on the latch here, releasing the seats from their locked position, and allowing them to fold flat. They can be locked and latched back into place simply by giving them a push back to their initial location. Now, one important thing to keep in mind, if you see red on the lock lever here, that means the seats are not fully locked in place. So if you ever put the seats back upright and you see red on the lever, just give them another nice firm push back into their locked position, and you'll be all set for the drive. Remember, the controls are mirrored on the other side of the car, so I'll be able to fold the seats in a similar manner, giving me access to the full depth and full height storage capacity of my trunk. The features available along the rear door sill on all CrossTrek and Impreza models will include the child safety lock, our window controls, and our door controls. The door controls will have door locks as well as a door handle. The window controls will of course allow the window to go up and down, and the child safety locks, if turned on by sliding down, will make the inside door handle inoperable. That means that any occupants in the rear of the vehicle on the side with the child safety lock engaged will have to be allowed out from the exterior of the car. Moving on to our driver's door sill, we're going to have controls for the windows, the door locks, the mirror adjustments, and the ability to physically lock or unlock the driver's door itself. Now at the bottom here we're going to have the window locks, the ability to lock the windows. Press this in to turn it on, press again to turn off. Rear window and front window controls, as well as of course the ability to unlock or lock the doors in the vehicle with one touch. And then of course twist the dial left or right, and then press up, down, left, or right to adjust the mirror on the corresponding side accordingly. Remember, once it's adjusted, you can move it to the center position and it'll be locked in place for you from there. Moving on, we're going to take a closer look at some of the controls available to us inside the cabin of the car. The lower portion of the dash here will have our hood release, and the floor will have the release for our gas cap. If your vehicle happens to be a four-door sedan, you'll also find a release for your trunk there on the floor. Now our seats are going to have, in this particular model, a power adjustment. If your vehicle is equipped with a power adjustable driver's seat, you're going to have the ability with this slider to move the seat up and down as well as back and forth. Moving the slider backwards or forwards will move the seat as well, and up or down will change the height of the seat for you also. The backrest angle can be adjusted using this lever here. Pull towards the front of the car to angle the back of the seat forward, and push towards the rear of the vehicle to change the backrest angle as well. Now our steering wheel is fully adjustable, tilting and telescopic in this vehicle. We can release it by pulling down on the latch here, and that's going to allow your wheel to slide in and out as well as up and down. Once the steering wheel is in a comfortable position, you can lock this latch here, and the steering adjustment will no longer be available. On the top of the dash here, we have our trip reset button. This button allows us to keep track of the distance we've traveled on a trip or between fill-ups at a gas station. We're going to have access to trip A and trip B. We could cycle between those trips with a press of this button, and pressing and holding this button for about 3 seconds will zero out that trip for us, allowing us to start anew. The lower cluster of buttons here has some of the controls for some more of the features available in our vehicle, and we're going to take a closer look at that in just a minute. Now, before we move on to the set of buttons here, I just want to point out one more time the trip reset button here, the release for the steering wheel lock here, unlocked and locked, and the release for the hood located here. Slide our fingers underneath, pull, and the hood will unlock for us. If equipped on your vehicle, you'll find in the top left corner here a button labeled SRH. This will be the off switch for our steering responsive headlight feature. If this feature is equipped on your vehicle as you steer the wheel left or right, the headlights will swivel correspondingly to help light up the road around the bend rather than just in front of your car as you go around a corner. This feature can be disabled by simply pressing this button off and pressing it again to turn the feature right back on again. We have brightness adjust for the radio and the gauges here by spinning the dial up or down. That's going to change the brightness of those radio displays available in the car. If it's too bright at night, you could turn it down, and vice versa in the middle of the day. Moving on to the lower row here, we're going to have our vehicle dynamics control off, our auto start stop off, and our blind spot detection off buttons. The vehicle dynamics control located here on this vehicle is a very basic safety system. It's one that helps maintain traction between the tires and the road surface, and if one of them happens to slip, it'll send power to the tires that still have grip. This is a feature that in most situations you'd want to leave on, but if you ever find yourself stuck in a snowy parking spot or in the mud, turning this feature off may allow the vehicle to exhibit some wheel spin. In this circumstance, this wheel spin may be beneficial to helping you find your way out of that situation, but just keep in mind, once you're out of that stuck situation, turn the feature back on. I always recommend driving with this feature active and engaged. If equipped on your vehicle, to the right of the vehicle dynamics control system, we'll find the auto start stop off button. Auto start stop is a relatively new feature to Subarus, so if it's not something you're familiar with yet, there's a few key things I want to point out. This is a system that is designed to avoid excessive idling and to save some gas. With this feature engaged, if you come to a complete stop with your foot on the brake, you may momentarily feel the engine shut off. This is functioning as it should, again saving us some gas and avoiding that excessive idling at some of those long red lights or stop signs we find ourselves. Once you take your foot off the brake pedal, that indicates to the car that you're ready to go. The engine will start right back up, and by the time you apply the gas, without any hesitation or delay, you're able to take off to your next destination. If at any point in time you decide that you want to disable this feature, give this button a press, the feature would be off and you'd see a bright orange light on the dash letting you know that's the case. If equipped on your vehicle, you'll find to the right of the vehicle dynamics control the blind spot off button. Now the blind spot detection system will indicate via an orange light on either side view mirror if there's an object coming up from behind you in your blind spot. This is a visual warning, but if it ever becomes a distraction or a nuisance to you, you're able to disable the feature with a quick press of this button here off and another press to turn the feature right back on again. On models equipped with keyless access, you're also going to have a push to start button on the dash. Rather than having a standard slot for a key on the steering column, you're now going to have a push start stop button to the right of the wheel. Now this button requires you to have your foot on the brake in order to start the car. Putting our foot on the brake, we see a green light on the button, allowing us to then push the button once, and just like that, our car would turn on for us. If we wanted to turn the car off, all we would do is then press the button again, and the car would turn off for us from there. Now we're going to move on to the steering wheel. The steering wheel is going to have quite a few controls built in on both the left and the right hand sides of the wheel. The left hand side is going to be mostly convenience features. It's going to be an extension of the controls that we have access to from the radio here on our right. Nice to have those hands-free features built into the car, of course. On the right hand side, we're going to have some of our EyeSight features. These are going to include our adaptive cruise control as well as our lane centering. I'll go into those in more detail later on. We're going to start on the left-hand side here with the left and right arrows at the top of this left portion. These left and right arrows are going to allow us to search, seek, scan, and scroll through our various radio stations and tracks, as well as switch through presets. For example, as you can see here, switching through the presets that I have previously saved for my radio. We're going to have volume adjustment here, of course. Turn the volume up or down using the toggle simply with a finger. Now, source will actually change our inputs. Let's say we had a CD in the vehicle or our phone connected via Bluetooth. I could press the source button here and it would actually switch through either the various connected devices or the radio station frequencies. Now, the voice command button here will trigger a voice command prompt in the vehicle, allowing you to not only control your audio, also if the vehicle comes equipped with navigation, you can again verbally start directions to a destination if that's something you so choose to do. Now, on the bottom portion here, we have an answer as well as a hang up button. These are going to be for our hands-free phone call features. Again, the answer button for picking up calls, the hang up button for ending a call or canceling an incoming call as well. Set behind the wheel, you're going to have up and down arrows here that you can pull towards you with your fingertips. If you look on the center screen here, you'll notice that as I pull the up arrow, it's actually going to change what I see on this display. Pulling the down arrow will actually also change what I see on the display, instead working its way backwards through the various screens available to me here. Again, we're going to have a digital speedometer, a trip timer, and a trip distance meter, our miles per gallon, as well as a distance to empty estimate, depending on the amount of fuel that we have left in the tank, average fuel economy for the particular trip. We have a trip reset button here that's going to allow us to switch between trip A and trip B, and we can actually keep track of the various fuel economies that we have for those particular trips as well. Pressing and holding the trip reset button will, of course, zero out the trip meter for us. Moving on, we're going to have a settings screen here, as well as a screen that shows tire pressure in all four wheels. And then, of course, back to our digital speedometer. Now, using the down button, I would be able to go through those same screens, those same menus, simply in the reverse order that I had just gone through them in. The center button here with an eye and a set on it will, if there's any information the car has to display, will bring that information up for you on the center display here. Alternatively, if you are on the settings screen here, pressing and holding for about 3 to 5 seconds will bring you into a more in-depth settings menu if there's anything in particular that you'd like to adjust. Other than that, we can move on to the right-hand side of the steering wheel here. Of course, a wonderful feature that we're going to have in the vehicle is going to be our heated steering wheel, if equipped, on and off with one touch of the button. And then on the right and on the left, you're also going to have paddle shifters. These paddle shifters are part of our virtual manual mode that we have available in the car. That's something I'm going to discuss more in depth later on. You'll notice on the left, as well as on the right, we have stalks. On the left will be our headlight stalk. Pull towards us for a flash of the high beams, push out to turn them on, up for right blinker and down for left blinker. And then, of course, we're going to have, by spinning the outer portion of the dial here, off, if equipped, auto, running lights, and on, as well as the ability to turn, if equipped, our fog lights on and off using the inner portion here. The wiper stalk, similarly, will, again, turn on the wipers for one streak by pressing up, down for your intermittent adjust, slow and fast speeds, And of course, on your intermittent speed, you have an adjustment here by spinning this inner dial portion. On the outer portion of the wiper stalk are going to be your rear wiper controls. You're going to have off, intermittent, and on for the rear wiper. Pressing and holding, or rather twisting and holding forward or backward, will actually release washer fluid to the rear window. And then, of course, pulling the wiper stalk towards us will release washer fluid to the front window as well. That does just about wrap up the steering wheel. We're going to go over these EyeSight features in just a little bit. On Forester, CrossTrek, and Impreza models, you'll notice where the voice command feature was originally located, we now have an info button. The voice command feature is still available hands-free on the steering wheel. It's now serving dual duty with the answer button here. That means when you have an incoming call, the answer button would function as it normally would. Otherwise, any other time, pressing the answer button will launch the voice command prompt for you to take advantage of from there. The info button here, on the other hand, will control our upper radio display. This one button will control every screen that we see here on this upper display. We're just going to press the info button repeatedly, and you'll see that this upper screen is changing the various information that it has available to us. On Forester, CrossTrek, and Impreza models, another difference you may notice on the right side of the steering wheel is the inclusion of the SI drive modes. If your vehicle is equipped with SI drive, you'll have access to a sport and an intelligent drive mode. A simple click of the button will change between the two drive modes that we have to choose from, visible to us on this upper display, with the changing of the color and the shape of the graph. By default, the car is in the intelligent drive mode. That's going to get us the best fuel economy. If you're looking for a little bit more power, a little bit more throttle response out of your vehicle, the sport mode is available to us here on the left. Simple click of the button, and that's going to give us access to all the power the car has to offer us. As I mentioned previously, the info button here on the left-hand side of the wheel will control the information that we see on this upper radio display. This upper display will have a combination of technical and multimedia information about the vehicle, as well as some redundant information that we can gain access to from the center screen here. Currently, we're looking at a safety screen, which will show us all of the various safety features that we have active and available to us. A screen showing us where our symmetrical all-wheel drive system is sending the power, as well as the angle of ascent and descent. Water temp, oil temp, and average speed, as well as the weather. If your vehicle is equipped with navigation, the directions can appear here. Whatever media you may be currently playing, the distance to empty, average miles per gallon, and instantaneous miles per gallon, as well as a clock and a settings screen with some more detailed settings about the vehicle that you're able to adjust. Remember, these screens all cycle through, so you would simply keep on pressing this info button until you find the screen that you're looking for on this upper display. On the right-hand side of the steering wheel, we're going to have access to some of the controls for some of our EyeSight features. On the right here, we're going to have our lane keep assist on-off, as well as our adaptive cruise control on-off buttons. Now, if you're new to the adaptive cruise control system here at Subaru, it's going to be a wonderful update over the standard cruise control system that you may be used to from the past. Previously, with our standard cruise control system, we were only able to set a single speed for our car to maintain, and then it would maintain that speed for us until we input a brake command or pressed a cancel button. With the adaptive cruise control, we're able to set an upper speed that we want the car to not surpass, as well as a following distance that we'd like our vehicle to maintain from the car in front of us as we're traveling down the road. With these parameters, our vehicle is then actually able to fluctuate speed on our behalf, slowing down if necessary, or speeding up, but never surpassing the upper speed that we have set for our adaptive cruise control system. This means that where in the past, if we had our cruise control set to 55 and the car in front of us slowed down to say 50, we'd have to input a brake command, slow down our vehicle, and then either set a new cruise control speed or resume the previously set speed. Now we are able to have our car keep pace with the vehicle in front of us, as well as maintain a following distance that we are able to set for whatever fits our driving style and needs best. We're going to have access to this system on the right here. The top rightmost button will turn on and off the adaptive cruise control system. We'll be able to turn on the cruise control feature, and we'll know that's the case because we'll see a matching icon on the left-hand side of the screen here. It's going to match the button that we pressed on the right here identically to what you see on the display. Now from there, we have a toggle here, set and resume, set by pressing down on the toggle, resume by pressing up on the toggle. Again, we would turn on the cruise control, reach a certain speed. Once we've reached that speed, we'd be able to set the cruise control speed. And then using these two buttons here, we'd actually be able to both increase or decrease the following distance between us and the vehicle in front of us. Now that following distance is indicated here, more and less bars on the dash. Again, 1 bar will be the closest following distance between you and the vehicle in front of you, and 4 bars will actually be the furthest following distance between you and the car ahead. I recommend most people start out on 4 bars, which will be the furthest distance, and once you're comfortable with the adaptive cruise control system, if it's something that's new for you, work your way down to however many bars you may prefer. Other than that, anytime that you do, of course, press the brake pedal, the adaptive cruise control system will be disabled. It will no longer be maintaining a following distance or a pace with the vehicle ahead. And again, at that point in time, you will either have to set a new speed for the car to maintain or resume the previously set speed that you have set prior. Lastly, pressing this button here will fully turn off the adaptive cruise control system. Now, one other feature that may interest some drivers, if they prefer the standard cruise control system to the adaptive cruise control system, when the cruise control is on, pressing and holding either the down or the up button here will actually revert the cruise control system to standard cruise control rather than adaptive. Another 3 to 5 second press and hold will revert it back to the adaptive cruise control system that we had active previously. I'm going to turn it off for now, and we're going to move on to another feature here on the steering wheel. Now, on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen here, we're going to have our lane keep assist feature. This will be a simple on and off feature. We'll know it's on when we see the matching icon on the dash on the right-hand side here. Again, the icon will match the button that we pressed identically. I like to mention this feature with another feature that we have situated on the roof on the right here. I'm going to point out this feature in just a moment, but I'll discuss it with you now. We have our lane keep assist as well as our lane departure features in the vehicle. The lane departure warning is an audio-visual alert. It's a passive warning, giving you a light on the dash as well as a beep from the speakers. Again, an audio-visual alert letting you know that you're leaving your lane, and from there, what you do with this information is up to you. The lane keep assist, on the other hand, will actively help keep our vehicle centered in the lane if we're swaying left or right. Again, you may feel a little nudge, a vibration, a motion in the wheel, and the car will help correctively guide you back to the center of your lane if you're swaying to the left or to the right in it. Now keep in mind, it's not a self-driving car. At no point in time do we take our hands off the wheel when these features are active. They work with us, not for us. Again, these are all great tools and assists that help improve our day-to-day driving experience, not do the driving for us. Aside from that, we're going to move on to the lane departure warning, and we're going to find the on-off buttons for that feature on the ceiling of our car. Moving on from the steering wheel, on the roof of the car, you're going to find some extended EyeSight controls. On the left here, we are going to have our lane departure warning, and on the right, we are going to have our pre-collision brake assist. Now, the lane departure warning, here on the left again, is going to be an audio-visual alert. It's going to be a passive warning where the car issues a beep from the speakers and a light on the dash, giving you a warning that you're leaving your lane or swaying within it. And then from there, it is your decision to make the correction. Again, keep in mind the lane keep assist, on the other hand, if active, can input that little nudge, the vibration, the motion in the wheel, and help correctively guide you back to the center of your lane. Remember, with both of these features, as long as we're using our blinkers properly, they're not going to interfere with our day-to-day driving. Again, the car will know that we mean to make a lane change or cross over a lane, and neither of these features will alert. Now, here on the right, we have our pre-collision brake assist. This is a feature where the car is able to apply the brakes either for us or with us. That means that the car is actually able to apply more brake pressure than we are on our behalf. So if we're approaching an obstacle or an object at too great of a speed and already slowing down, but not applying enough brake pressure, this feature can apply even more brake pressure than we already are. Alternatively, if we're distracted, drowsy, or something unexpected pops up in front of us, this feature can apply up to 100% of the brakes on its own in an attempt to slow us down as much as possible or bring us to a stop if possible to do so. Again, both the lane departure warning and the pre-collision brake assist are a 3-second press and hold of the button. To turn off the lane departure warning, I would press and hold for 3 seconds, hear a beep, and see a matching light on the dash indicating that that feature is disabled. Similarly so, I would press and hold the pre-collision brake assist to turn that feature off as well, hearing a beep to indicate that it's off. Turning it back on is as simple as pressing and holding for about 3 seconds, hearing a beep, and no longer seeing a light on the dash will indicate that the feature is back on for you. I'm going to do the same for the lane departure warning, and we're going to hear a beep and we'll no longer see a light on the dash indicating so. Now, a very important thing to keep in mind is the pre-collision brake assist here is a feature that we're going to be turning off in an automatic car wash. That's something that Subaru recommends doing. So anytime you're taking the vehicle through an automatic car wash, I'm going to recommend pressing and holding that button for about 3 seconds till you see an orange light on the dash matching the button, and then that will indicate to you that the feature is disabled and it's safe to go through that car wash. Once you're out, you can simply turn the feature right back on again with another 3-second press and hold. Now, on the left-hand side here, we are going to have a red and a blue button. These are going to be our Starlink, Enhanced Roadside Assistance, and SOS Emergency Assistance buttons. The red button on the left here is going to have SOS on it. If we were to press that button in case of an emergency, it would reach out to a Starlink customer care advisor, and from there, help would be on the way. Again, that's there for an emergency if you need fire, police, or ambulance, something along those lines. The blue I button, on the other hand, is going to be Enhanced Roadside Assistance. So if you ever do find yourself in a situation where help is needed, but it might not necessarily be an emergency situation, press the blue button. Again, a representative will reach out, and whatever help is required will be sent on its way. Again, that's there if you have a flat tire, a dead battery, you ran out of gas, you need a tow, you're stuck on the side of the road, the blue button is there to help. Differentiate between the two, the red, of course, for emergency situations. And to wrap up the buttons that we have located here on the roof of our car, on the right, we're going to have a slide switch. 2 positions. On the right, it's going to have these overhead lights set to off. When we have the switch slid to the left, it's going to, again, turn the lights on for us when we open the door. Great for seeing what's going on in the vehicle at night. I tend to leave this switch in the door position. You can also, of course, turn on your lights by simply pressing on them on and off, one touch, just like so. Super easy to access. Now, if your vehicle does come equipped with a sunroof, you'll find 2 additional controls on the roof of your car. You'll have on the left a tilt feature, and on the right a slide function. Now, the tilt feature on the left will tilt the rear of the sunroof up or down, allowing some airflow and ventilation without opening the sunroof itself. The slide feature on the right here, on the other hand, will allow the sunroof to open, of course, without the tilt function engaged. Now, you can tilt the sunroof opened or closed, opened by pulling back, closed by pushing forward. And of course, you can also slide it by pushing back to open or forward to close the sunroof. For those new to the EyeSight safety system that is offered in our Subaru vehicles, these are the EyeSight cameras, one on the left and one on the right. These cameras are the backbone of our EyeSight safety system, taking in information from the road in front of us and helping us make decisions with that information. Now, these cameras, just like our eyes, hence the namesake EyeSight, if we can't see, they can't see. That means if their vision is impeded or obscured, heavy snow, heavy rain, mist, fog, physical dirt, mud, rock salt, very common in the winter season, for example. If the cameras cannot see the road ahead clearly, you may see on your dash a message that indicates no EyeSight or EyeSight disabled. If that's the case, I want you to know it's functioning as it should. I'm sure you'll agree, rather than making inaccurate safety decisions, we'd rather disable the systems till accurate ones can be made again. That means if you ever do see that message appear on your dash, there's no need to pull over, just be aware of what's going on. Simply clean off the windshield using your wipers. If you have some severely caked on mud, maybe a squeegee from a gas station might be necessary. Or if it's weather that's causing the message to appear, simply wait for the weather to shift, and again, that message will resolve itself. Keep in mind, these features will be disabled until the message is resolved, but again, the car will function as it normally would, simply without the EyeSight features. Now, these cameras can, of course, have their vision obscured from inside the vehicle as well. In order to ensure that we don't do so with an easy pass or something along those lines, what I like to do is I'm actually going to take my hands and I'm going to draw 2 vertical lines from either edge of the camera straight down the windshield. Again, 2 vertical lines from either edge of the cameras down the windshield, and that's going to divide the windshield into 1, 2, and then 3 portions for us. The 3 virtual portions that we've just created, you're going to want to avoid objects in the center area here. So again, 2 vertical lines from either edge of the camera straight down the windshield, dividing it into 1, 2, and 3 portions. You're going to want to avoid objects in the middle here. That means that your easy pass will go to the left or to the right of the cameras. I recommend mounting it here in order to not block your visibility here as a driver, but again, either to the left or to the right of the cameras should suffice. Below the radio display, you'll find your climate controls in the form of 3 dials. If your vehicle is equipped with digital climate controls, the inputs from these dials here will be visible to you on the upper radio display here. Working our way from left to right, we're going to have the temperature adjustment, the fan speed, and the airflow location. Any changes to the knobs on the lower portion here will be visible to us on this upper display. So as I change the temperature on the left, you'll see the temperature is also changing for me here. As I change the fan speed, the vehicle will do the same, and the airflow location also. We're going to take a closer look at the buttons that are on the dials themselves and go over the features that those can turn on and off for you. Now let's take a closer look at the climate controls. Again, working our way left to right, we're going to have the temperature, the fan speed, and the airflow location. The temperature dial will have the on-off button for our climate control system, as well as our full auto mode. The fan speed dial will house our recirculation on-off button, and the mode or airflow location dial will allow us to turn on and off our front and our rear defrosters. Again, these are a simple click of the dials. And keep in mind, if your vehicle is equipped with heated side view mirrors and heated wiper blades, the rear defroster will turn on all three features at once. AC can be turned on and off here on the left, and max AC can be turned on and off here on the right. Now, pressing this max AC button will actually get the fan speed as high as possible and send the coolest air possible through the air vents. Again, this is a simple one touch to turn on the max AC feature and one touch to turn it off. Circulation can be turned on and off here in the center. And our full auto mode will be available to us here on the left. Now, the full auto mode is a one-touch feature. You simply turn on the full auto mode, and from there you adjust the temperature to your liking, and the car will fluctuate the fan speed and airflow location as necessary to reach and then maintain that temperature on our behalf. Keep in mind, if we adjust anything other than the temperature, such as the airflow location or the fan speed, you'll notice that the full auto mode turns off for me. So remember, think of this as a set it and forget it feature. Good for long trips. You set the temperature, the car will reach that temperature and then maintain that temperature for us. We can finally turn off the climate control system fully with a simple touch of the on-off button here, as we did initially to turn it on. Now we also have our hazard lights here. And in the little cubby below, we have our USB ports, our auxiliary input, and a 12-volt power port if you need to connect any devices on the lower right here. Now we're going to take a look at the center console, which includes the shifter and may have several buttons available to you depending on your vehicle. Putting our foot on the brake and then squeezing on the trigger on the shift knob will allow us to shift from park to reverse to neutral and then to drive. Now, if your vehicle is equipped with our virtual manual mode, you have the ability to move the shifter over to the M for manual mode position. And again, if equipped on your vehicle, you'll then be able to utilize the paddle shifters behind the wheel to shift up and down through the various gears that are available to you. Remember, we can leave the car in D for drive, and it will shift through the gears on our behalf without us having to input any additional commands. Also, anytime we're in reverse, our vehicle's backup camera will turn on for us. Putting the car back into park, I can take my foot off the brake also. Now, our emergency parking brake is located here on the left-hand side of the center console. Simply pull up to engage, push the button, and release to disengage. Now, if your vehicle is equipped with heated seats, you'll have access to those here. You'll have the controls for the left and the right heated seats. This will be for the driver and the passenger. Again, a low and a high setting option, as well as in the center, the off position. Now, if your vehicle is equipped with X mode, you'll be able to turn that feature on and off with the press of this button here. Simply press to turn on or press to turn off, On your dash, you would also see a matching icon indicating that the feature is enabled if it's on. Now, the X mode feature will give you extra torque, extra power, and extra traction at the cost of speed. This is a feature that you're able to use going 20 miles per hour or less, and it's good for heavy snow, heavy rain, or any minor off-roading that you may encounter. Keep in mind, if you do surpass that 20 mile per hour speed, the system will automatically disable itself. And then from there, if you do drop below that 20 mile per hour limit, you can simply give the button another press and enable that feature yet again. Now, anytime we shift the vehicle into reverse, we're going to see on our upper radio display our backup camera. Now, this backup camera is going to have red, yellow, as well as green lines to indicate distance for us. The red lines will, of course, be the closest distance, the yellow will be further, and the green will be further still. At the bottom of the radio display here, you can actually see on this particular model, we have chrome trim on the bumper. On our Subarus, you'll be able to see the back bumper at the bottom of your rear view camera here in order to give you a physical reference of how close or far you are from an object, rather than relying solely on the red, the yellow, or the green lines alone. Again, in most instances, stopping at the red lines here will be, again, a safe distance, but the physical reference at the bottom of the screen here lets you make that final decision yourself. On vehicles equipped with the reverse automatic braking and the audio-visual sonar and rear cross-traffic alert, we are going to be able to turn these features on or off as we see fit or necessary. For either of these features, it's going to be a 1, 2, and 3 second press and hold. And now you will see, rather than saying on, the icon will say off for us. Same goes for the reverse automatic braking here, a 3 second press and hold, and the feature will be turned off. Again, for either of these features, another 3 second press and hold will turn them back on if you so choose to. Now, the audio-visual sonar on the right here is going to display on the screen colored squares or rectangles to visually indicate how close or far we are from an object. And then it's also going to give us an audible warning through the speakers of the car if we're getting too close. It's going to be a tone that's going to increase in frequency as well as volume if that's something that your vehicle is equipped with. Now, the reverse automatic braking can, when in reverse, actually help us by applying brake pressure. This can stop our car if we're approaching an obstacle or an object at too great of a speed in reverse. Again, a great feature. Nice to have a second set of eyes looking out for us there. Keep in mind, the reverse automatic braking might be necessary to turn off if you are parallel parking the vehicle or just trying to get a little closer than the car may let you. If you notice that the reverse automatic braking is engaging before you're able to get close enough to the object that you are in front of, you can simply again press and hold for 3 seconds the reverse automatic braking feature till it's turned off for you, and then you'll be able to get as close as you'd like to that object. Keep in mind, you'll see on the screen here as well as on the dash that the feature is off for you. Other than that, a wonderful feature that's going to be on all of our Subarus are the predictive course lines. If I was to take my hands and spin the wheel, you would see on the display orange lines here on the left and on the right. They're going to be curving for us as we turn the wheel. And these are actually going to show us the direction of travel that the car will have as we're driving in reverse. These are really useful in order to help lining up a parking spot or pulling into a driveway backwards. Aside from that, anytime we shift the car into park and then back into reverse, both of these features will turn themselves back on if they were disabled previously. Keep in mind that your new Subaru will have a 1,000-mile braking period. During these first 1,000 miles, you want to keep the engine under 4,000 RPM and allow the vehicle to see a variety of driving conditions as it would throughout its lifetime. You'll also want to avoid using the cruise control feature if you can do so. And keep in mind that your new Subaru has an oil change interval of either every 6 months or every 6,000 miles, whichever comes sooner, with full synthetic oil only.
I hope that video was helpful. If you have any additional questions or concerns regarding anything in your vehicle, reach out to your salesperson. From there, they'll let me know and I'll get in touch via whatever means of communication works best for you. Whether that be phone, email, or text messaging, we're here to help at Ramsey Subaru and want to ensure that each and every one of our customers has an extraordinary shopping experience.